Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be repainting a doll using all the colors of the rainbow. This was frequently requested by you guys on my previous color challenges, so hope you enjoy. Because these 6 colors give me such a wide variety of both color and lightness to darkness, I decided to omit using any other supplies that I usually actually would use, such as acrylic paint and chalk pastel, and stick straightly to pencils just to get the challenge that way. As usual, I allowed myself white, because otherwise you can get no highlights or whites of the eyes, but in this case I also included a black pencil, because in the previous challenges a lot of you guys said that you thought it was fair for me to have black as well, and in all of the odd challenges that the YouTube artist does, they also usually have a black outline, so I included it in this one. And for doll hair, I'll be using 100% acrylic yarn to brush out, which I usually do. For the base of this project, we'll be using this secondhand Monster High, which I actually believe is a hybrid between 2 dolls, so I don't think this head actually originated with this body. To start out with, I popped the head off the body, which I usually do because I prefer to hold the head on its own, morbid as that sounds, because I do find it easier to work with. And I removed all the hair, cutting away the excess out the top and then pulling out the plugs from the inside. And with most of the second-hand dolls I buy, the hair was pretty greasy and gross, so it was just nice to get that off and have a clean slate. And then I used some acetone nail polish remover to remove the original face. And I've come to the conclusion to start trying to remember to actually wear a glove when I use acetone, because it really wrecks my nail polish, so that's why I'm wearing a latex glove when doing this. Once the face was all clean, I primed it with 3 thin coats of Mr. Super Clear, allowing it to dry in between before I started the actual repaint. And this is just to get good grip, especially with color pencils. I think the 3 initial coats really does make a difference. So, for my approach to this challenge, I thought I would use all of the colors in both the iris of the eyes and also in the eye makeup around it, and then half of the rainbow in the eyebrows and half on the lips. And that probably sounds a little weird, but I was thinking if you had a gradient, for instance, in the eyebrows going through all of the rainbow colors on such a small area, it's just gonna end up looking muddy. But I really actually liked how they ended up on the eyes, and I blended all of the colors together for like a nice fading effect. Initially I started by trying to draw on a blue iris, no, not iris, pupil. And I actually left this in the video so you guys could see. Sometimes I will usually, take those sort of mistakes out. But I kept it so you guys could see that I started doing that, and then I erased it, just using an eraser, because I didn't like the look of it. And then I went for a completely colored in iris, because I at first wasn't really sure if I wanted a pupil or not. Sometimes I don't, and make it slightly more fantasy. But even though I really liked the gradient I ended up doing, when I looked at it, I just kind of, felt like it was like a little too much of the Instagram logo because of the rainbow and all. So I added a pupil later on in the process. So as for my choice of only using pencils for this, I could have included soft pastel in all the colors, but I also felt that that might make it, I don't want to say too easy, because I don't know if it's a proper challenge using all the rainbow colors, but it's just something you guys requested and I like the idea of it. But if I'd used the chalk pastel as well, I thought I had, a whole lot of options, and it would have been easier to make like smoked out makeup around the eyes and maybe doing some proper blushing and stuff. But I just really like the idea of seeing how far I could actually get with just the pencils, because why not? It's good to challenge yourself and see how far you get. And the pencils are truly my favorite medium when it comes to repaint. It's really my go-to and what I prefer. So I decided to try that, and I really wanted to try my luck at actually making blush and stuff like that, with the pencils. And a good trick is if you very lightly apply the pencil onto the doll's face, and as you can see I always wear a white cotton glove, you can actually use that to gently rub it in, because that smooths out the edges and just feathers it out a little bit, so it just becomes a little more blurry and hazy, so you can actually get a blushing effect and just kind of smoke things out. And I sometimes use a brush for this as well, and it's a clean brush, there's nothing on it. I simply just use it to brush out the lines of the actual pencil, and it just makes it a little smoother. And if I end up adding too much pencil, then I use a tiny bit of an eraser to take a bit of the color away again. So I really wanted to try and work with that. So I omitted the pastels, just to see how far I could go with it. I also tried not to use the watercolor effect of the pencils until very late in the process, and I only did it for the white pencil, again to get proper eye whites and highlights. And this was because that if you use the watercolor effect of the pencil on a brush, it's very much like acrylic paint, so you can get almost the same effect. And even though I think that would be totally within the range of a challenge using the watercolor pencils as a medium, since it is options within them, I decided not to do it, just again to try to push myself and not use the look of the acrylic paint. And if you only use pencils, it gets a slightly more blended in and hazy look, which I do like, but it's just really hard with the eye whites. So that's in the end, I end up using the watercolor effect just at the bottom of the eyes to really strengthen the white color to make them pop, and also for the highlights. It's usually part of my process and also kind of my style to use 3-dimensional eyelashes on my dolls, but during all the previous color challenges I've done where I haven't used them because they're black and they didn't fit the color, I've really practiced my eyelash game, and I actually feel that I've become a lot better at drawing them on, especially the upper ones, because I didn't used to do them much. And I think it was because I always tried to do too many. And it's because you think to yourself, if you look at your own eye, you have like hundreds of tiny little lashes. But if you try to make so many strokes on a doll with either a pencil or brush, it just looks too much because you can't scale it down to the thin line that you would actually need to make. So I actually find that it looks better to make fewer lines than my mind think I need to do. So I actually think, practice makes perfect, obviously. So I've actually gotten better at it. So I chose for this one, again, to omit the lashes and actually draw them on properly with the pencils. I feel I should probably discuss the obvious elephant in the room, that there's no glitter in this challenge. I know, it's very unlike me. I usually take every chance of using glitter and spraying it all around me and rolling around in it. But after all the previous challenges I've done where I've included the glitter, literally it's still scattered all about my apartment. I love glitter, but I hate cleaning it up. And I might actually have gotten a little, too much of a good thing right now. So I decided to be pure and go without it for this one. But fear not. Give me a week or two and then I'm rolling around in my glitter again. We know me. As you've seen throughout the video, when you work mainly in pencils, it's really a layers game. Like, you work the pencil on the surface until you cannot get any more opacity out of it, then you seal it in and work on top. And especially the white, it's still, kind of milky and hazy, no matter how many layers you do, but you can build it up okay. The black is usually the one that builds up the best over time, but a lot of the other colors really pop if you just give them enough layers. So it's really a game of patience and just layering up. I used the black pencil to add some shading to the eyes, which is a thing I always do no matter what color I've had available to me. I always shade the eyes somehow, just because I feel it just makes the eyes look so much, more dimensional, because if you don't, it's just so flat. So I always shade the top of both the eye whites and also the iris. In this final layer, I just add the final details, such as busting out the watercolor effect of the white pencil, as I mentioned earlier, to make the highlights of the eyes and the eye whites. And I also decided to make very faint white freckles on the doll, just because in the last few months I realized how cute I find freckles on dolls. You don't have to do it, and it doesn't really show up on camera, but you can see it in person, and I just think it's adorable. So once I was happy with the face, I sealed it in a final time and put it aside to dry. And then I got out all my yarn, and obviously I used all the rainbow colors because I felt like I had to, and that was part of the challenge. So I cut it all up and I put it on a coat hanger just to make it easier, and I brushed it all out. Once it was all brushed out and fluffy, I used my straight iron to flatten it, which just made it really smooth and silky. And then it's ready to be glued onto the doll's head. Since green and yellow were the predominant colors in her eyebrows, I felt it was natural they'd be very prominent in her hair as well, so therefore they are on the top of the head, very much in the middle, and then I split the rest of the rainbow colors in the right order going around. Once you have all the hair in place, you want to allow it to dry completely, and then you can comb it out just to bring the strands together and style it however you like. I decided to comb it slightly to the side, and then depending on how you splay the hair, you see the different colors. Now the final step is to glaze the eyes, and in my case also the lips. I really like doing this because I just really think it saturates the colors and it makes the gradient of the eyes look really nice. And here she is all done. I changed up her outfit into something bright and colorful to match the look. I'm really happy with how she turned out. Obviously she's going to be very bright and colorful since we included all of these different colors, but I really think it comes together and it looks really nice. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's any requests for other videos, challenges, whatever you'd like to see, leave them in the comments for me below. Thank you guys so much for watching, hit the like button if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in a new one real soon. Bye!